welcome to episode 117 of Planning Phase Syndicate. This is our discussion of the road to PAX, the road to Crossroads, which sounds weird, but it is, and an extended format review. Tonight, Planning Phase is going to cover the Golden State Games results in all their non-Han glory, because I'll tell you, there was not a Han in the finals tonight. Which is crazy because we've been talking about Han, but people just must be sick of running him. Or is it because we've all put way too much stock into Han for what he's worth? We're also going to be doing our pattern analyzer segment to try to cover some of the store champs that we missed. So what I've decided to do is essentially what we're going to do is put store champs all together. And then if there's a major tournament, we cover that first. And then we just start hitting the store champs in the order that we have them. And we just keep running them over from week to week. Because there is almost too many, I think, to cover all the time. With that being said, we're also going to be starting two new segments tonight. One short segment and kind of one meta-analysis segment. And they're going to kind of filter in together. So for Academy 101, we've decided to do tonight a deep dive into specific meta lists. Now, I don't know how many we're going to do per night. I just know that we're going to kind of dive into them as you're preparing for for PAX and Crossroads. It's very advantageous to understand what we're seeing in the meta, what we're going to be facing, and how we can kind of counter that, or if you want to play it, how to play it. That will feed into a discussion going into PAX about extended lists, because we want to see, do extended lists hold up? What could happen if they re-release some of these ships? I don't think we're ever going to get another Upsilon, but maybe we'll get lucky and get another Upsilon. But what could the extended meta bring to the table for everyone else? With that being said, let's bring in my co-host for tonight. Please welcome to the show, back from his mini snot-nosed vacation, Alex. How are you tonight, sir? Feeling better, I assume?
Yes, I can speak now without sounding like a really bad version of Billy Corgan.
And also joining us tonight is JJ. The Lions have won again, and I think have a better record than the Giants do right now.
Yes, that is unfortunately accurate.
So you might be just wearing that hat permanently, buddy. I don't know.
God, no, not gonna happen.
If the okay, hold on. If the Lions make the Super Bowl, you have to wear that hat for a whole year. If they make the Super Bowl, you have to wear the hat for a whole year.
We'll revisit this during playoff time, or revisit during playoff.
I say make the bet now. That's a pretty strong bet there, you know. Anyway, how are you doing? I heard you had a adventure in the mountains this weekend.
Yes, I went out to the Blue Ridge Mountains and spent the quick weekend over there with the family over there, and I felt the disturbance in the force, and it turns out Crispy was also in the state of North Carolina as well. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to meet up with him, but yeah, no, we had a great weekend, and I actually just arrived back from that trip. It was a very long drive. But excited to go over X-Wing and Golden State Games just finished right now. If you guys haven't watched it, the Empire has taken Golden State Games. Congratulations to Jordan for winning that event.
Yep, and we'll get to that in just a few minutes here as well. So guys, thanks for joining us tonight. So we had some exciting X-Wing this weekend. I don't know if you caught any of the Golden State Games. I'm assuming, JJ, you did not, because
I barely had any reception.
We're gone. So
yeah.
There was a couple of crazy lists that we seen on stream that I thought seemed pretty fun to play, and it was fun not having to see a million Hans all the time. I'll say that. I don't know if you guys caught that or not. Real quick update for Nickel City League. So I know we haven't done stats. It looks like Kat is kind of doing some stats, so I think next week we'll reach out to Kat and see if she can maybe draw up a little bit of numbers for us to go off of. But the best part about NCX is it's a for fun league. The three of us are all on the same team, and we've got our first win. So now we are 1-1-1, right? One draw, one win, and one loss, correct?
Mm-hmm, that's right.
So JJ decided he thought he'd be super funny and give me one of the people that almost made top cut this weekend for my matchup. But hey, no problem, buddy. Hopefully
It's my confidence in you, buddy, that you can do it. Okay.
JJ just wants to have a better record than me this year, so he's already lost a couple of games. So he's got to like knock my numbers down for me. Anyway, but if you are playing in the Nickel City League, hopefully you're having fun. Again, shout out to Greg for putting all of that on. It is definitely a nice thing to have, and like the best part about it is it gives us games of X-Wing to watch during the week. So if you aren't paying attention to Nickel City or 312, make sure you follow them on Twitch. They're streaming games almost every week, though I don't know what Nick's gonna do this week because he's in California right now, so I don't know if he brought all his equipment or not.
Probably not. No. But I gotta say, I mean, if you guys haven't been watching on the nights that Greg streams, which is Tuesday and Thursday nights, and Nick streams on Wednesdays and Sunday nights for the league matches, they have been super close. I mean, I keep track of a lot of the scores for a lot of the other teams, and a lot of these games are being decided between 1 to 5 points for the most part, which is really tight. That's like the difference between a couple of objectives or a ship. And it's really good X-Wing. I mean, we got a lot of great players on every team with really great matchups, and it's just been interesting to see how well this league is going.
Awesome. Well, why don't we jump into our pattern analyzer segment to look at some of the scores from this past week. Here we have Golden State Games World Open Qualifier. Looks like there was, I don't know, tell me if I'm wrong, Alex. I think there was 48 people registered for that.
Yeah, I do not know.
I think there was 48 people. Well, you can count. There's 24, 34, 37. Yep, 48. There you go. 48 squads. Everybody got to enter their list this time. That was kind of nice, right? We actually get real statistics this time. It looks like Rebel was the highest, with Empire coming back up. But if we kind of look at faction performance, the Republic actually did the best with the amount of wins and different things like that overall. The Republic was on the higher end of that tier, up around the 60%. Spoiler alert, they didn't win, though. Golden State Games ran a similar-ish style of X-Wing to what we saw at Nova. They did 5 games day 1, 2 games day 2, and then they decided to run a top 8 on top of that. So if you played this weekend, you did a 10-game gauntlet just like Worlds.
Oh yeah.
So there was a lot of X-Wing going on this weekend. So anyway, if you just as an FYI, they were the highest on Republic, and then kind of everything tapers off for FO, Resistance, and Empire, and then obviously Scum and CIS ended up on the bottom end again. Now, when we look at faction records, like I said, the Galactic Republic was up there in terms of overall amount that they did. They obviously played more games. Top cut, we had 37% was Republic and FO. Rebels was down lower. There was only 2 Rebel lists, right? Top cut? Just 2. So that's kind of crazy. Usually Rebel Han just kind of makes his day. In terms of pilots, the highest taken pilot was not Boy Luke, with Sabine this time. So 2 lists didn't take Boy Luke. 2 lists. I don't know which ones, but 2 lists did not take Boy Luke.
It looks like one of them straight swapped it out for Fen Rao.
There you go. And I guess that makes sense, right?
And then there was a Ghost Gauntlet Ewing and Sabine.
Okay, that sounds kind of fun to run.
It was Kanan, Ezra, Saw, and Sabine.
That's kind of cool. Damn, we should have looked at that list. How well did that list do?
Let's see.
All right.
24th. It was 2-1-2.
That's not too bad. That's not
Two
too bad
wins,
for
one draw.
that seems like a very fun list. So obviously they didn't make day 2. But anyway, so we see the similar culprits up here. Except for Black Squadron Aces, there must have been enough of them to actually trigger them to show up this time. In terms of ship combinations, obviously the Padme, 3 arcs, and Anakin list. Then we had 3 T-70s had 3 counts of those ships in that list. And then we have the Han stuff. We have then kind of the Vader stuff. There you go. 2 lists took that Saw, Chopper, and Sabine Gauntlet list. So it's there, baby. They didn't do super well, but it's there.
Oh, there's the other one. Yes. I didn't scroll that far down. Cough.
And then obviously the Fang Fighter and Han list up there. So when we look at Top Cut, this is the original Top Cut before the final happened. So you can see the list that went 6-1 did not actually have Han in it this time. It had Bentek 2 tubes, which I think Bentek out of all of the U-Wings is probably the best one.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't fly a lot of U-Wings, so.
Just the ability. The ability to pass off focuses to other ships, especially if you have Hera in the list, it just makes that list a lot more effective to pass over the tokens when you need to. Just giving Hera that extra token can be so huge. To make sure that you can give out an evade if you have Jin in the list, or give out a focus on attack. I think it's a really, really great piece.
It's great for Hera lists, but Saw, I think, slots into more lists, or Magma into more lists than you'll see Bentek.
Yeah. A lot more offensive, definitely.
Yeah, and then the other standout was a scum list made at day 2, top 8, by our very own Joe Churchman. So congrats to him on that. We'll get to his list. We'll get to his list in a minute. Don't worry. Then when you kind of got below the people that made day 2, there were some Padme lists. There was a 2 7B. Oh, it's Obi-Wan. There you go.
Yep.
There's 2 7B ship lists and 2 arcs, which I think is still a viable archetype. It's weird not seeing it with a lat though, right? Like that's just a kind of a weird non-latty list.
No one runs lats anymore. They're too expensive. And people don't know how to fly Sicko.
Yeah. Then if you look down, we had 3 in a row with Han, none of them making Top Cut. Daniel Lin had a very unique 6-ship CIS list. Didn't win 4 and 3. Definitely was a different list. I was a little surprised by this list. But it is fun. I don't know if we threw that one in there or not, but we can always look at it later. And then there was Sniper Monkey also came up with 4. All right, maybe we should throw this list in. 4 4 of the rogue classes and 1 Tri-Fighter. So I'm assuming the Tri-Fighter is T-81.
It is Volan Das.
It's Volan over T-81?
Wow.
Yeah, Volan over T-81. It's a very similar archetype that we saw at Nova with Miguel Justiano. But instead of T-81 having Volan Das in it. But man, I think there's something there with that list. They're having 4 rogue classes and a Tri-Fighter. I think that's something that should probably be explored further.
Yeah, whatever you do, stop that right now because I don't need to buy another rogue pack. And you know what's going to happen is Tanner's going to go out and buy another rogue pack, and I'm going to have 4 of them, and I definitely don't need 4 of these things.
Just wait till they drop them to 3 points apiece, and then you're going to have to buy another rogue pack.
Oh, if they drop them to 3 points apiece, 100% would I go out and buy another one, even if it was only for 6 months to be able to play. All right, so we only put the top 8 in here. So I think let's go through the top 8, and then we could talk about if we want to add a few other ones in there, or if we want to save them for next week and kind of just go over them next week. So,
let's do them. Yeah.
All right. So JJ, what is the top list or not top list, the number 8 list with, I guess on the far right. Oh, okay, I did this backwards. The list on the far right is number 8, Doug Weaver. What did he run?
So we got an Empire list here. We got Boy Vader, which comes with marksmanship, hate, afterburners. We got the new standard loadout Tomax Sprint with True Grit, plasma torpedoes, and ion bombs. And then we got the return of the six interceptors. I'm so excited for this, actually.
You say return? They were never there.
Yeah, well, they did well early on, before points balances and stuff like that. But Sigma 6, which comes with Daredevil and Afterburners, and then Sigma 5 with Sensor Jammer and Elusive, and then Deathfire, which is the standard loadout version with Swift Approach, Counter Nets, and Proton Bombs. I gotta say, this is probably going to be one of the easier lists to set up on the board, because you basically only have to put shields on Vader and then a couple of charge tokens. But yeah, really, really interesting list. I like this a lot, actually, having those 2 interceptors there with Sigma 5 and Sigma 6, being able to beat that threat on the board at Initiative 4 and having 4 hull apiece. It's really nice to see these actually do well in a big tournament like this.
Yeah, Sigma 6 is the one that can slam after it does a maneuver 3 through 5, spend one of his 2 charges.
Yeah, correct.
And then Sigma 5 is the one that after it performs an attack that hits, he can spend one of his 2 charges to get an evade. To do an evade action, actually.
Yeah, do an evade action. Yep, that's right.
Which is, all right. I did watch the one game, and I was a little confused by the play for it. It was a very low-scoring game. Doug did win. But it was like a very low scoring game. I almost would have tried to wipe Sabine off the board and collect that objective for that game. But I will say I like this addition. I like he got the Deathfire off. Like he threw a proton bomb in there, and that was pretty totes and goes to see. So I don't know. I if I were an Empire player right now, I would probably look at this list.
Shake the dust off those cards.
Dust off those cards. I know. I got them sitting right here, over here. They've never even been filed yet. So I don't know. Looks kind of cool. All right, the next list, Alex, is a unique. This is a unique Rebel list too. I think actually that's who Doug played, was Mason. Think about it. I wonder if Doug played Mason.
Not in round 8, which I think is the cut, right? No, they lost to Camo Spark, which was the 6 ship Empire list.
Gotcha.
Yes, this Rebel list, it has Boy Luke, shouldn't be a surprise, and neither should be Beskar reinforced plating on Sabine. But it has Wes Jansen with Enduring R4 shield upgrade. And I love me Wes Jansen. Too expensive right now, but he made it work. He has Nora in a Y-Wing, which I know JJ would love.
Yes.
With ion cannon turret, veteran turret gunner, R4 afterburners.
Perfect. 3 straight or 3 bank boosting Y-Wing to get into range 1, and then you ion cannon and just guide them all the way to get free evades all the time.
Shoot an ion cannon because you have VTG. And then also Blout with Predator and shield upgrade, which works really well with like Nora.
Yeah.
Getting that extra die when someone's at range 0 to 1.
I
so
like
that list happened.
That's pretty cool, I will say.
It's a crazy list.
Yeah, honestly, looking at this list, I like it a lot. I do like Wes Jansen a lot, but if I'm really going to go all in into the Nora and Lieutenant Blount, I actually would make room by sacrificing Wes and putting in Horton Psalm in the Y-Wing, since he also gets bonuses for having people at range 0 to 1 of the Defender. Probably get some cluster missiles on.
Now you have an extra point for that bid.
Yeah, and upgrade Sabine to somebody else, right? Because Horton is 3 points, so you can change
Sabine to A-Wing Sabine, who also wants to be range 1.
Yeah.
Or you can straight swap Wes Jansen for Fen Rao, who also wants to be range 1.
Yeah, or do a 4-point X-Wing like Garvin Drace, or gosh, there's so many options at 4 points for Rebels right now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, Afterburners Wailing Nora with the double tap.
That's nasty. I like it, actually. Dang, I'm gonna have to try this out. I like it.
And 3 I5s with Luke, Wes, and Nora. So that's kind of cool.
Yeah.
All right. Next list, Alex, is Joe Churchman's Scum list. What did he bring there? And is it, I don't know, like, it seems like it's got 2 Fang Fighters in it.
Yep. That it does. And it's not even a Rebel list. What's up with that? Who brings 2 Fang Fighters and not in Rebels? Yeah, so this is Fenrir with Beskar, Mando Optics, Fearless, and Predator, which you see if you don't run the Burnout thrusters. That's generally the Fenrir you'll see. It has Tarok with Beskar, Crackshot, Fearless. That is not typically what you see. Normally, you'd throw out another Mando Optics and like clan training or something. You had Dirge with False Transponder Codes, Proton Cannons, Marksmanship. Lima with R4B11 Plasma Torps. Please don't bring anything else, I swear. I see people put dorsal turret and stuff on there and they take off R4B11. It's tragic. It works really well with Mando Optics. And then you have Lone Wolf Bosk. For some reason. I don't know that one. I don't know the justification for that other than you like Lone Wolf and it's cool.
Objective play. They're saying here's a 2 point. It's like a Sabine. That's what he's saying. With one less die.
Sure, I get it. I just, but yeah, you got an I6, 3 I5s, and Bosk, your 2-point chip at I4. It can hit pretty hard. No one wants to be false transponder codes. Yeah, it's a cool list. I'm not a strong believer in it, but you know, I didn't get that high in like a World Open, and then it lost to 5 T70s, which sounds about right.
Yeah. Honestly, I do like the call on false transponder codes because that does work with R4B11 because you can, if somebody jams and they decide not to clear it, you can use that R4B11 to remove the jam token and then reroll with those dice. It's pretty nice. I like it.
Or if they're stressed, or you have Mando Optics, so you decided to target lock them, and that's a red token.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
It's real nice. And, you know, Lima shoots second after Fen. Fen probably going at the different target than Lima does.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and I think there with the Dirge, it gives you that, like, when you go in, you get that target lock, right, for your proton cannons, which you're taking half the time anyway. You're just jamming them. So now, like, you probably don't use it unless you're moving second and get that bullseye. But if you get that bullseye lined up, you move second, you take the target lock, you jam them, and then you immediately... Now, you're already using it anyway, you know, so...
And you have a soft focus mod from the focus to a crit, so it's really good with a target lock. It's just don't get shot at by someone else.
Yes, Dirge does not like that. Unless you're CIS Dirge, and then if you waste all your effort, you just better hope you kill him, because otherwise he just comes back to life.
I mean, this Dirge, he's tanky enough. Like, if you don't roll a lot of crits against him, he can absorb enough damage. He just blows up real fast because he's taking a bunch of crits.
Yeah. All right, let's move on to number 5. We have Blackout with Rockets, Lone Wolf Sensor Scramblers, Kylo Ren with Instinctive Aim, Predator, Mag Pulse this time instead of Concussion, and Advanced Optics. Going down to Mag Pulse allows you to take that Predator versus usually you see something else in that spot. So you could take Concussion missiles. Typically it's the, Proud Tradition or Fanatical you could take. Anyway, then you have Lieutenant Hughes with Proud Tradition, Pattern Analyzer, Special Forces Gunner. A little bit different take from Mr. Hughes there. Sometimes we see the Barrage Rocket like Hughes. Then we have Cluster Missile Malorus and Lieutenant Gaelic with HLC and Proud Tradition, which I don't know when you're using the Proud Tradition unless you're doing a turnaround maneuver. I don't know, my ties don't normally do turnaround maneuvers more than once in a while, so but
it gives you the option to do it more now that you get a focus.
True.
Yeah. True. Or if you like bump focused and you're stressed, you can still do like a three bank and focus if you need to or something like that. You know, they're edge cases for it.
Or if you're stressed right and then you bump into someone, you can still do it.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that helps too.
All right, let's move on to top 4. Alex.
Is that Nick Sperry?
So well, you could just cover Lionheart. How about that? That's Ken Lyons, right?
Okay.
I think that's good. Did you go ahead? We'll just like in fairness, they both lost to the winner and stuff like that. So it's inconsequential.
Yeah.
So it's a T70 list, baby. So
It is actually 5 T70s. Unlike what some people champion as 5 T70s when it's like 3 T70s and an A wing and a Y wing.
Yeah. He did. I bet he did this just to meme everybody. To be like, hey, motherfuckers, I'm telling you, like y'all say 5 T70s can't do shit. Look, I made top 4.
Fair enough. So 5 T70s. You have Elo with R68 and Crackshot. It's very Predator. You got Snap Wexley, the boosty one with marksmanship shield upgrade, which I have been seeing an uptick in actually. If they take R68 and put it on to somewhere else. You got Kari Kun with Afterburners, which is amazing. Doing that one hard boost. Jess Pava with BB Astromech Ferrosphere Paint, because they saw Ryan do well with it. And then Nimi with Ferrosphere and M9G8. Don't really need the lock too much when you're Nimi, because you can just turn that blank to a focus.
Yep. Other than it's an I2, Nimi is pretty awesome. I like Nimi. If she wasn't an I2, I would. I think we'd see it a lot more.
She's taken like, if you're doing like straight 5 T70, she's actually taken a lot. She's right up there with like Vinny Zadoza in terms of people taking her. Just make sure you shoot Nimi first, at least spend that focus token, then you're good.
Yep.
So, yeah, I mean, that's 5 T70s. It's resistance. They're really good. And that was the highest ranked resistance list by a wide margin. The next one was 21st overall.
Which is funny, because if you go overseas, the lists over there allow you like are a million. There's a million resistance lists.
And that one also had just straight 5 T70s.
Yeah.
So.
All right. JJ, what did Nick bring? I think we've seen this before, but go ahead and tell us what he brought.
So Nick's very rocking the starter pack Vader with Merrick Stell with fire control system and shield upgrade. Tomax Bren, the custom one with Sat Salvo, barrage rockets, and bomber generator, and then Battle Yevon, Backstabber, and Mauler Mythal. The Bruise Brothers running to finish off this list. I mean, this is a high initiative strike list here. You got 6 and then 4 5s to go in and start punishing ships that are lower initiative here. This is something that Nick has been championing for a while, just being able to do a lot of high initiative attacking with all those 5s and Vader. This list can definitely put out quite a bit of damage, and Merrick Stell is that sneaky last shot that can go in and really ruin somebody's day with his crits.
So the question I have is, could you replace that Tomex Bren with the True Grit one?
Yep, you could go with a custom one. Yeah, same point value. The main thing here is the value that you get out of Saturation Salvo after you've already taken shots with Backstabber, Mauler, and Vader. Being able to shoot at a ship that already has no tokens, being able to make them reroll any natural evades with Saturation Salvo, you have a higher chance of getting damage in with Tomax at that point than with just like a target lock and a focus with just to get like natties. It makes it easier for you to mitigate, especially against like 3 agility ships. It makes it easier to mitigate those natural evades that they can roll.
All right. Whew. Then Alex, who was our runner-up? Because it was another non-Han list.
Oh, let's see. That was the Rebel one, right?
Yep.
The runner-up. Okay. This list has Fenrau and Boudica, because 2 Fang fighters, and it's not Scum, so that makes sense. Fen Rao with Predator, Crackshot, and Beskar, and then Bodica with Predator, Beskar, and Mando Optics. Typically, what you see for both of those ships. It has Hera with Marksmanship and Thread Tracers, which is a switch up. Usually, you'll see like Mag Pulse and like Hopeful, or sometimes like Deadeye. You got Lone Wolf Sabine, and then you have Benthic with Hopeful, Perceptive, and Jin Urso. So it's a Heratani list.
Yeah.
Yes, and they're solid if you can do it right.
And then JJ, what did the winner of the event bring, and why does it look like almost like Nick Sperry list, but with weird TIE fighters?
So we got the Empire again. We got Boy Vader making an appearance this time with Merrick Steel with this shield upgrade fire control system, custom Tomax with barrage rocket sat salvo and bomblets, custom Reimer with barrage rocket sat salvo, seismic charges and delayed fuses, and then 2 Black Squadron Aces, the Initiative 3 generics making an appearance here and actually winning major events. Man, generics, I mean, they're not dead, man. They definitely fill those spots. I mean, they're 2 points apiece. You're basically sacrificing Backstabber from like Nick Sperry's list to change him there, and then just changing Mauler into Major Reimer. And there you go. You got 2 bombers, Merrick, Vader, and then 2 generics that can either go contest objectives or work like a really great blockers for a lot of different stuff. They're also your salvage carriers as well. I mean, your opponent can go spend resources to go hunt these guys down, or they're just going to generate 2 points every turn on salvage. I mean, this is a really nice list. It's definitely well balanced for objectives, and it does have a lot of punch with Vader and Merrick and Tomax. So yeah.
Yeah, and I like that it's a 6-ship list too, right? This is we haven't seen a lot of 6 ships do super well. So it is kind of nice to see a 6-ship list make some noise. So congratulations. I don't remember the gentleman's name.
Camo Spark.
Yeah, Camo Spark.
Jordan. My goodness, I've got his name already. Jordan, no, but he won the event there. Congrats, great play.
So all right, Alex, we'll go. I did pull Obi-Wan's list in, as well as a few of those CIS lists, and we even have Captain Matthew to go through the Kanan, Ezra, Saw, Sabine list. Alex, what list do you want to cover?
I'll do the Obi-Wan list. That's fine. The Republic one with the double arc and double Aethersprite. So this has Anakin in the 7B with Compassion Crackshot R4P shield upgrade. That's interesting. I don't think I've ever seen one quite like that. The R4P is really good with his ability. If you didn't get his ability, but being able to do like a blue 5 straight is disgusting. Shield upgrade is very helpful too. Crackshot helps push more damage through, which is probably what you want in this kind of list. It also has Mace in the 7B Aethersprite with R4P17 and Heightened Perception. Generally also what you see, that R4P17 lets you do an action after you do a red maneuver, which also recovers a force for Mace. Then you have SOC Oddball and SOC Wolf.
Yeah, so would you have taken Jag instead of Wolf here?
I don't think so.
Or do you just want it because it's got the higher initiative?
And I think Wolf just works better with Oddball than Jag does. I'm not sure. I mean, it's also like 6.5 2 4s instead of a 6.5 4 3.
It's probably easier to move around.
I might have done customizable Wolf over SOC Wolf. But yeah, I mean, like if you're Obi-Wan or Duncan, I guess you could just do things like this.
He was my in the last chance qualifier. He was my last round opponent, and we actually discussed playing each other, and then we conceded and just drew for the last round, and then ended up playing each other, and then it came down to like the last shot for the game. So really nice guy. I love this guy. He's fun to hang out with. So I did think he was a really Really good opponent, and congratulations, make it top 12. Even though you didn't get into top 8, that's still pretty damn close, in my opinion. So, next list is our boy Isophane. Bring in Dirge, Grievous, and Grievous is the one with the shield upgrade, and Dirge is it's got Treacherous on it. Probably because he's got 6 ships in the list. I would typically run Contraband over Treacherous personally.
Yeah.
Or I would run, if I wanted Treacherous, I would get rid of Seismic Charges. But Seismic Bombs are really good, though. Like, in fairness on Dirge, it's that sneaky little, oh shit, I forgot you had a bomb type thing. But the Treacherous might trigger a lot more with Dirge, given that he's got a lot more ships to cover. Then we have 2 Tri-Fighters, not 1, not 2, or not 3 Tri-Fighters, just 2. And it's not the T-81 we normally know. This is just the treacherous T-81 that doesn't have the afterburners, outmaneuver, nothing. Obviously, downgrading it to make that sacrifice for the DGS 047, which has Kraken on it, so they all get to keep their calculates. 347 is the treacherous version as well, kind of like your dedicated, it feels like, for CIS.
Did he just not put intercept booster on those, or did he just not bother putting it in the list itself?
You probably don't put it on there. Like, I don't like intercept boosters. Like, in the long run of things, like it works out in one scenario usually. But in fairness, you could just dump the charges, so I guess it doesn't matter, right?
Yeah, you can just flip it, right? If you don't want it.
That is true, because you do have one, like, your first turn, unless he's using the first turn as like a 5 straight boost calculate into everything. Like, you could 3 of those ships can do 5 straight boost calculates, so, or focus for Dirge, but they're pretty aggressive, can be pretty aggressive ships. You can focus fire down a ship pretty quickly with those 3. So I don't know what T-81's normal ability is.
It's the one that, it's after your defender performed an attack, you can spend a calculate from a ship they have in their firing arc.
Oh,
the enemy's firing arc, yeah.
Well, that
it's
makes
a clever
even more
one.
sense. Yeah, so this one, just like an extra share. So not only do you have network, you have that on top of that. So
yeah, it's an extended network calc.
Yeah, and it also works off of DFS 081, right? Because if they have independent calcs and they have 2 calculates, you can use DIS's ability to grab one of their tokens and use it to spend a result. So it doesn't even have to have network name.
Yeah, and that's the nice thing too with that too is if you think about it, you can DFS 81 can have 1 calc, keep like 1 and get 2 more, and then still have 1 for his own ability and one to shoot the energy shell charge with. So I don't know, he's pretty good.
Or if they bumped into you and like, what are they gonna do? I mean, they're gonna shoot the not range 0 shot, right? Just pull it from the guy at range 0.
Yeah.
True.
It's super nice.
Yeah, I do like that. I will say that we should probably look into that and see if that's a viable option. I just like my funny reroll man because he lives and I can be aggressive with him. So I congrats to Ice. I do like this list. I think this is a pretty neat list. I wonder if he played Obi-Wan. So somebody look up and see if he played Obi-Wan, because maybe I'll run this week. This sounds like a lot of fun to fly. So, and I will say, 047, if you're running Kraken, like, you want to kill it, or it's gonna out objective you. That stupid little thing. Well, it's 3 points, and that thing for me, if you don't murder that thing, it will literally catch you. Like, literally will catch 3-4 objectives with that thing, because it just side slips every other turn if it wants to. I could literally go in almost a circle around the board in some fashion,
like Sicko.
Like Sicko, yeah. Just with a small
too
base,
hard,
Alex.
too hard.
Yep,
just too hard side slip, too hard side slip.
Yep, exactly. Except for, again, it's just a small base. Now you don't have to worry about hitting rocks with it easily. Because I bet in this list you're taking big rocks in this list. That way you have something for 081 to land on. So, all right. Yeah. JJ, what is the next CIS list from Sniper Monkey?
So I like this list a lot. So we got 4 of the Rogue class starfighters, we start off with Dirge with marksmanship, sync laser cannons, and contraband cybernetics. We got Volan Dawson, the Tri-Fighter, with threat tracers and shield upgrade. Cad Bane with marksmanship and sync laser cannons, Xanadu Blood, and the Grievous title. And then we have IG 101 with sync laser cannons, independent calcs, and engine upgrade. And if you're not familiar with IG 101, during the system phase, you can spend a charge to repair a damage card, face-up damage card. So if you have like a disabled power regulator, or if you have like a damaged engine, IG 101 can basically just take that away during the system phase, which is really great. We got Magna Guard Protector, which has sync laser cannon, Discord missiles, and independent calculations to round off that list. And the Magna Guard Protector can assign the protected condition to any one of those friendly ships, and as long as that ship is in the firing arc, it can essentially spend a calculate to add an evade result to that friendly ship that has the condition card on it, making these a little more harder to kill. It is really nice. I like this a lot. I think there's definitely an archetype here that can further be flushed out. We could definitely see the Rogue class starfighters do a lot more work with this, especially those Magna Guard protectors being Initiative 4. They're definitely something that is viable for this faction and can definitely work out in a lot of different types of lists.
The Magna Guard protectors, the guarded condition is not that. It is while you're defend, if you're not in the attacker's bullseye, you roll one additional die for each friendly calculating or evading.
I'm thinking handmaidens. Sorry. Yeah. Sorry. I'm thinking handmaidens. Yeah, you're right.
So as long as you're calculating or evading and the Magna Guard protector is in the attack arc and you're not in a bullseye, you get to roll an extra die.
That's pretty good.
I wonder who they put it on. I would assume like Volan, right? That would make the most sense.
I don't think so. I originally thought that, and then you could just technically run Volan right along with that Magna Guard protector, but I think the biggest issue is Volan's going to move a million times faster than that, or you can't take double calcs, like one of the two. You just can't do it, because if you have the double calc, you're doing straight maneuvers or one or two banks, and that's it, because you don't have contraband. And so Volan never does. The only time Volan does a slow maneuver is if he's doing the one talent, which is amazing. If you've never done it with Volan, do it 100%.
So who would you put it on?
Either Cad or Dirge, depending on what you're trying to do with them. I think the one time I saw this play on stream, which was Miguel Justiano, he put it on Cad Bane, and she got it off pretty regularly, and that Cad Bane survived like pretty well.
This Cad Bane also has Grievous too, so
yeah.
So that because what you want is in this list, you want your Cad Bane to survive. You want Volan to go in, do Volan things, and then Volan becomes the objective carrier, or Volan becomes kind of a flanker. And if you lose Volan, it's probably not the end of the world, because the rest of the list is pretty tanky. Because this is close to, like, they have close to similar health as T7 is, you know. They're one less shield. Yeah. But I would guess that you did it on Dirge or Cad Bane, only for the pure fact that you are able to go along with them. You could put it on Volan for like initial engagement, and then Volan can do his thing after that. I don't know, because like really Volan, if he can one talon behind you, you don't need the Magna Guard protector anymore. You know, so it is weird not seeing T81, because that's kind of what I would do. Is like I would put T81 in there, and then I would put it on T81, because can you imagine being able to roll 4 green dice? Like, that would be
more
fun.
accurately get your third die back after you've re-rolled your defense dice like a bazillion times.
Yeah, like that shit doesn't want to die, but you don't get thread tracers then, you know. And this list for consistency probably wants those thread tracers to get off. I'm assuming there's like 2 jousting blocks with this list. Would be my guess. Or 2 small jousting blocks, and then Volan's on one of the sides or in the center, and then whoever the more ships are is where he goes.
Yeah.
Stop making me want to buy 2 more rogues. I really don't want to.
I used to have 4 rogues. I won one at GT.
Nice.
Yep.
Well, I could have traded you for some other ships. I have tons of ships. We could have traded. I would have taken.
I gave it away.
You're killing me. All right.
Remember?
Anyway, let's keep moving. We spent a lot of time tonight on it. Alex, what is the last list that you told us about earlier,
It's
and
a
why is
rebel
Saw
list.
better here?
Kanan, Ezra, Saw, and Sabine. Kanan with Clan Ren Commandos. Compassion, VTG, Tactical Scrambler, Ion Cannon Turret,
And the ghost,
and the Ghost title out of Disrespect.
Yeah.
Ezra in the Gauntlet. It's got the config. Chopper Crew, Chewbacca. For some reason, I don't like Chewbacca. Veteran Tail Gunner, Contraband, and the Night Brother title. Saw Gerrera with the Child, Hera Crew, and Contraband. And then Sabine with Beskar.
So in here, do you put Sabine with Lone Wolf instead? I almost think it's more valuable than the Beskar, maybe.
You got 2 large bases and medium base. Might be a little bit difficult just
Yeah, I
having
suppose.
the Lone Wolf.
I mean, if you're running Kanan Jarrus, you almost want to be a little more aggressive with Sabine, right? To set her up as a blocker, so that way she can, she's getting a crit. She can use Beskar. She has them in their arc, and then Kanan's helping reduce the amount of dice that's coming in. So I think Sabine probably is better off not with Lone Wolf in this case, just because she has that protective arc in Kanan in there. And going back to your comment about Chewbacca, for those who don't know, he is the repair crew. You can essentially spend 2 charges that he comes with automatically. They're recurring to repair a face-up damage card. I mean, there's edge case
engagement. That's the
start an
problem.
engagement. Yeah,
That's the problem.
You can fix like a weapons failure, or you can fix a structural damage, or you can fix. There's a number of different crits out there.
Couldn't fix like a loose stabilizer or the disabled power regulator. You couldn't do any of that, which you can with like Novice Tech, because that's just head and face.
Yeah,
that's my mini rant on why I don't like Chewbacca.
Yeah.
Well, Corey
works every time, sure, but
Corey, this is a Corey list, so Corey, I expect to see you play this. I expect to see you play this. I want to see it.
It's interesting that they put Hera on Saw as well, just to continue stopping, I guess.
Yeah. You don't have to move ever. Just stop.
Normally you would see that on like Ezra, because then you'd stop, and then also Night Brother, and then also have the Force kind of thing, and then like Chopper another action, right?
Yeah, exactly. It's weird not to see Hera on Ezra on this one. I mean, I guess the points just don't work out, but you're at least having Lay on there, so that way they can continuously stop whenever they need to. This list has got to be so mean on assault. Like, good luck trying to get an objective.
An auto loss.
Yeah, right.
That Kanan doesn't punish you enough though for shooting them. Tragically, I mean, you get the Saw reroll eventually, and like you have a couple Force, but like normally you want like Magva on there or something to punish the people, because the correct answer is to shoot Kanan, right? Because Kanan's ability doesn't work on himself. He's not the scum one, so you just nuke him off the board. Slowly nuke him off the board.
All right. Well, let's go up and cover a few store champs. This one was from last week in Canada. We had Canada, yeah, I think it's Canada, from Battlefield Store and Games and Things. That's what we're gonna call it, because I don't know what the name of it really is. Cam Murray took this one down 4-0 with a Rebel list. I don't see a Desi in there. Desi must not have gone to this one. Maybe he's out of his neighborhood. I saw all people in Canada went to like all of them. They all live by each other.
It's such a small country, that it's just, they're right next to each other.
It's only got 20% livable.
Just fill the rest with bears. It'll be fine.
So there we have it. The winning list that Cam ran is the correct Han Solo with Chopper and Bistan and Perceptive. The Boy Luke, Boy Holland, which is a little bit different. Usually we kind of see Wedge in there, but Boy Holland, I could see giving that extra focus out, being okay, because he still gives the focus. No. So what does he do then? Why wouldn't you take the one that gives the focus out then?
That's one more point.
Yeah.
Okay. Well,
more than this one. No, this is the one that after you do the, it's got the precise astromech, so you can double mod your APT.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So this is the one that if you get in range one will murder things. If not, you're out of luck.
Yeah, it's that precise doing after you do an action, you could perform a red lock, and you get that twice. So
Then we have Lone Wolf, Concussion Kyo, and Beskar Sabine. And the next list, which has an Academy pilot, not a Black Squadron, just an Academy pilot. JJ, what did they bring?
So we got an Empire list here, starting with the standard loadout Deathfire, which has the swift approach, counter nets, and proton bombs. Lieutenant Laurier with trick shot, targeting computer, and sensitive controls. I like that version a lot. We'll come back to that. The Initiative 1 Academy pilot, Major Reimer with Sat Salvo, barrage rocket, seismic charges, and munitions failsafe. Tomax Friend, the standard loadout one with True Grit, plasma torpedoes, and ion bombs, and then Boy Vader with marksmanship, hate, and afterburners. Going back to Laurier, he feels like the discount blackout because you can use those sensitive controls to go put yourself right behind a rock, get a shot off with trick shot with Laurier, and then sensitive controls the following turn to bendy barrel roll out away from the obstacles. And if you set yourself up right, you could probably pull it off again on a separate turn. That is a really nice trick for Laurier.
When you do the barrel roll let's say to the left, can you do the bendy barrel roll in each direction?
Yes.
So you can
Yeah, so you can do it
matter.
backwards, or you can go forwards if you want to, but you're probably going to do it backwards.
Yeah,
if you're like right up to the obstacle.
Yeah, because if you're right at the otherwise you're hitting it.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, you don't have to be like right on the obstacle's ass. You just got to shoot through it.
Yeah.
You be range 2 of the obstacle, she'll shoot through it.
Yeah, it's pretty nice.
All right.
The Academy pilot, though. He might one blocker.
Yeah, he's not going to get blocked.
All right. The next one is Goni Games in Oregon.
Mhm.
I don't think I've heard of this store before. They did 5 rounds. And I believe in our TO chat, this kind of came up, a discussion of whether you would have a top cut of 2 or just play 5 rounds. And they chose to play 5 rounds. I'm not 100% opposed to that either, to be honest with you. That kind of sounds like a little bit of extra fun. It keeps people there playing. Then everybody gets that extra turn to play for it. So, Alex, what did the winner Jolly Longfellow bring?
I sent this list to Cody because I was like, look at this person going 5-0 with this list. And he's just like, I don't see how. But he has Blackout with Trick Shot, Sensor Scramblers, and Plasma Torps, which I'm sure is the first instance of that. Malaris with Mag Pulse, Scorch and the TIE Fighter with Elusive and Fanatical, Whisper Kylo with Brilliant Evasion, Instinctive, Concussion, Optics, and the Config. And then Gideon Hask in the Psy Shuttle with Proud Tradition, Pattern Analyzer, Tactical Officer, and Phasma.
So what does Phasma do? What does Phasma do?
Well, Phasma's great. You just give a stress out to everyone around you if they don't have one.
And then, so is this like the one where you pattern analyze the stop? Is that what you're using it for? Like every other turn, you're just like, I'm going to stop and do whatever action I want to do.
Yeah, and you still get the focus.
Yep.
Yeah. With the Proud Tradition, you get two. Tactical Officer is pretty nice. If they had like Upsilon shuttles, you'd see Phasma a lot more because Phasma is disgustingly good.
Yeah.
So I have a quick question, right? Can you choose to do the red coordinate instead of the white coordinate?
Yes. They're both on your action bar.
So you could technically do the pattern analyzer, right? Do the stop, clear your stress, and then also get another stress just to get a free Proud Tradition. So you could literally,
How are you clearing your stress?
You're gonna go 1 forward the next turn.
Oh, okay.
Or whatever. I don't know what blue maneuvers they have off the top.
Yeah,
but
the one.
Yeah.
So you do your stop, which allows you to coordinate with the white, and then gives you a focus because you're stressed. The next turn you clear your stress, coordinate with the red, give out that, keep your stress, get a Proud Tradition, and then get like your focus. I don't even know why you need.
No. No,
So,
Proud Tradition just lets you do focuses while you're stressed. It doesn't give you an additional.
and Phasma gives a ship that's not stressed already a stress. You don't give away
gives
your own stress.
Every ship
Yeah, it gives
around
every
it
ship
0
around
to
it.
1.
Yeah.
Enemy ship around it
Yeah.
a stress.
All right. So then, what's the point of Proud Tradition?
To
You
get
can
a
stop,
focus.
pattern analyzer, target lock, and then focus. Because pattern analyzers, you do an action after you do a red, and then you get your normal action step, which wouldn't happen normally because you're stressed. But Proud Tradition lets you do a focus while you're stressed.
I see. Okay, so in that case, then it's in every other turn thing. You can either so then the tactical coordinator is just so you don't get stressed then.
Yeah.
When you coordinate.
Yeah.
If
So
you,
you
want
don't
to
double
do that
stress.
instead.
Yeah.
Also, I'd not recommend doing like the stop and then target lock and then pattern analyzer focus because their locks are red. That's just an example.
Exactly. Exactly.
You're probably coordinating or maybe jamming.
Yeah.
You're not tyranny. You don't have a white lock on your bar.
Yeah, unfortunately. All right. The next up is kimchi soup, which I don't know, Greg, is that good or bad?
I mean, it's not ramen, but yeah.
It's not ramen. Well, it might be. You could have I don't know. I've never
Yeah,
had
that's true.
kimchi soup.
You could have kimchi with ramen. Yeah.
Kimchi is disgusting.
What's
wrong with you guys?
All right. Nope. We got to kick Alex off the podcast now. Nope. Kimchi is not the cold kimchi is disgusting. I like warmer kimchi, but
yeah.
I like kimchi though. I am not successful at making it, and we should stop talking about that because now I'm getting hungry again.
I hate cabbage and I hate fermented things. So,
you like beer?
Yeah, it's not food.
Okay. It's fermented. Beer's fermented.
Yeah.
You like fermented things. You drink a lot of beer, from my understanding. At least when we hang out.
That's how we play X-Wing.
Exactly.
That's right.
You do that instead of nutrition.
All right, JJ, what is this Bo-Katan pre-Vizsla list?
Yeah, right. So we got a double gauntlet list making an appearance here for the Separatists. So we got Bo-Katan with the wing, the title, the gauntlet title, Mando Optics, Death Watch Commandos, and Clan Training. We got Pre-Vizsla with the Swivel Wing, Mando Optics, Contraband Cybernetics, and Notorious. We got DFS 081 with Grappling Trust and Energy Shell charges. And then we got two Horshall prototypes with the Contingency Protocol Energy Shell charges. This is the standardized version of the Horshalls.
And then ones.
Yeah, the SOC ones. And then the Iron Assembler with Grappling Struts and Energy Shell charges to finish off this list. So 2 Gauntlets and 4 Vultures. I mean, that's pretty much everything you need for this. It definitely seems really, really interesting. Bo-Katan being able to use that Gauntlet title very effectively to, if I'm not mistaken, to repair. She could repair with the Gauntlet title, correct?
Yes.
Yeah.
So it's just the one face-up ship card.
Yeah, so that makes her pretty tanky to make sure that she keeps those crits down, and Pre-Vizsla being able to punch hard with visibility, and it gets even better when you if you shoot at him and you're strained and he rolls his additional die at you while you're strained and gets a reroll on top of that. Man, Pre-Vizsla can do some work.
Yeah.
So for the energy shell charges on the Iron Assembler, they just want to do it on pure faith because you have room for munitions failsafe as well. Just throwing that out there.
Yes. I bet it was a mistake on their behalf.
Yeah,
because you're not running independent calculates on those, right? Because you want to share the calcs.
You also can't do it with energy shell. You just don't have enough points. You only have 5, so you just munitions failsafe.
Yeah, I was gonna say that would have sucked if on the game that they lost just because they forgot they could munitions failsafe the energy shell charge. Like that would really suck, man. Like,
but the Arshall prototypes, that's a thing.
Yeah. It's different. It's a different choice. I don't know. They do have an ability, for Christ's sake, but they're I1s, and the ability happens once every 5 games. I swear to God.
Well, this is the SOC one, so it also triggers on scenario features.
Oh, that's right, doesn't it? I forgot.
So if they do they claim like a salvage, or do one of the scrambles, if they're in your bullseye still, then you can perform a calculate or lock.
Yeah,
action.
with those, they're probably not very stressed because they're not double calculating anymore. So
Right, and they're not
this goes
sitting on
back to your
obstacles either.
traditional droid setup.
Yeah. So, Chris, I know we had like a brief conversation, like offline, about having 1 point Horshalls. Do you think that you would keep these at 2, or would you make these 1 point as well?
I would love them at 1 point. So, and I'll tell you what, they would make list building very hard. Honestly, like after we had that conversation, I went back and like was list building around it, and then I was like, man, this becomes a lot harder than I thought it was.
Oh yeah,
because with them being at 1, basically, like you are still limited to 8 ships, so it doesn't really matter. Yeah, that they're 1. All it would do is in that list. I guess we go back to that list. Sorry, I moved on from that list, but where was that? In
you're
this list,
basically adding
if
another
these
vulture. You want to?
yeah, if in this list, yeah, you could put one more vulture in, and it would become a 7-ship list, and that I don't think would be overpowered, as long as nope, I don't think it would be overpowered at all, really, because I don't think that you could take another Horshall. Because I think they're pipped at 2.
Yeah, they're 2 pipped. Yeah.
Yep. Originally, when you and I talked about it, I was like, I can run 4 of those, but no. They're pipped at 2. I forgot, and so that would be if you're going to make a 1.1. Those are the ones to make. Like, do not make the generics 1 point.
No,
because I would. That's just stupid. Like that would. Well, it would be fun for Tanner. I would go back to flying a swarm, 100%.
Is your swarm 2 fire sprays and like 4 droids?
I'd bring Seer back. It'd be Seer and Grievous and a bunch of droids. That's what it would be. Or if I wanted, I could run Dirge and T-81 and then Seer, and that would put me at 13 points. And that's 3 ships. And then if they were 1 point with it, with no loadout, like I could then bring 6 of them, right?
Yeah, it's not bad at all, man.
Nope, you could bring 5 of them. And then you still have 2 points left over, so you can upgrade 2 of them. So there you go. Like, in that case, then I'm running 081 and Iron Assembler and 3 other ones. That's just stupid. An 8-ship list with Dirge and Seer and Grievous. That just would be amazing.
Yeah.
So how many times do you think they just sat on somewhere with Pre-Vizsla and just used Bo-Katan's ability to just turn that stress from the stop into a strain? Because I mean, like, you still lose an action out for Pre-Vizsla, but you also Notorious and Mando Optics. So you just like stop and then take the strain, and then stop again, take the strain.
Doesn't Bo-Katan have to be within range 0 to 1, right?
0 to 2.
0 to 2. Is it in arc or no?
Nope, just 0 to 2.
Okay,
it's a bubble. Yeah.
So the answer is, I would say that happens at least twice a game. In a 6-round game, it happens twice, guaranteed.
That seems pretty decent, especially because you have contraband for one of them.
Yeah, the only time you would worry about that would be like, see, and this is where I would almost change out Death Commandos on Bo-Katan, maybe.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I like that they gave up the strain because it triggers, Pre-Vizsla. Like, I really like that. That's kind of a cool combo. And then it forces them to say, we got to get rid of one of the 2 of them. Period. I don't know. I do like. I guess I disagree now with my own analysis. I like that combo, but that's probably what I would have swapped out. Would have been the Death Commandos, because they are not a guarantee, and then put something else in there. That's probably what I would do.
Yeah, you could put like Grievous and like Novice Tech or something in there. Grievous and put in like Boba Fett Gunner if you want something crazy.
I do got to remind you, those that with those commandos is that if they do go under a ship, they give them a strain, and if they end up still with that strain, then Notorious reroll triggers on that Pre-Vizsla. So I mean, that is a good way to actively use that ability offensively. So that there is that, but yeah, I agree with you guys.
And that's why I bring R2D2 droid and just kill him.
There you go. That's there you go. That would probably be the way to do that. Can you R2D2 a Discord missile too?
It's a remote, right?
Yeah. Oh man, you know how many times? Like, I guess it's only happened a couple of times.
I saw it in the movies.
That actually happened a couple of times where I've shot a Discord missile at an Anakin and they shoot it off instead of using R2D2. And
I mean, I get deplete. That makes me feel any better.
Sure. Well, no, it doesn't make me feel better at all. Not when they're throwing freaking, 4 dice at range 1, and it's oh no, they got 3 dice. Okay, whatever. So the answer is, I think I own 2 gauntlets. I could run this list. I don't know if I want 5 droids, so, but I could run this list. All right. Well, let's move on. We'll do, I don't know, one more. Should we do one more before we move on to another segment?
Yeah, let's go to Troll Trader.
Nope. We're gonna do
The Duncan Howard one.
Fun and Games, which is a dumb name for a store, but Fun and Games Store Championship. Duncan Howard. We have 2 scum lists that made top here. So I don't know if everybody just was like on a kick to make scum good again.
Conspiracy.
But wait till you see the Captain Seaver. Like wait till you see Captain Seaver, because I don't understand that choice. But Duncan Howard has officially, folks, I believe officially taken down 7-star champs with different factions.
Yep.
He did it.
Yep. It probably cost him a fortune to do that, but he has done it. I just think of the money. Yeah. I guess it's a cool thing to say behind your name, but there's some money that went into that, you know.
It's the clout. It's the clout that you gain.
I mean, I've been able like 6-star champs, if not 7. So
I mean, after you win 3, they just give you the entry for free. I mean, yeah.
Yeah, we want this guy to come. Everybody will come play if this guy comes. So congratulations to Duncan. We'll have to have him back on, not in the next couple of weeks, but we'll have to have him on before Worlds to talk about this. Just because I think it's a funny meme. And he did go through and explain his list. It is different than what we've seen before. He's got Mando in there, and we kind of all, to some extent, discounted Mando for them stripping Mando down. But here we have a Mando list. So, Alex, what was this crazy list that Duncan ran?
So you had Fen, Dirge, Mando, and Cad Solus. So Fen Rao, Beskar, Optics, Fearless Predator, the very aggressive one. Dirge with Proton Cannons, Contraband, and Lone Wolf. If you have more than 4 people, usually that Lone Wolf would be like Fearless. You have the Mandalorian with the Child and Mando Optics and the title. And then some hidden illicit, most likely false transponder codes, possibly Contraband. And then Cad Solus, which is the one that after you do a red maneuver, you get double focus with Beskar, Mando Optics, and Cutthroat.
Yeah, interesting. Not Joy here.
Joy's terrible.
So is Cad's not much better.
He should have taken the other Cad Bane.
That would have been fun. I mean, you would have got the title and 13 points of loadout. So.
Yeah, and you can put on Synced and IGD and actually use the ability for the double calculates. Yeah. You're just not repositioning and focusing.
Yeah, this is definitely a bully list, right? Because this entire list, with the exception of Dirge, wants to get into your face, and it wants to engage at range 1, and it wants to push in a lot of damage, right? Because if you take a look at the Mandalorian's ability, his ability triggers at range 1 or 2, as long as you have 2 ships or more in your front arc. Fen Rao is also a range 1, bruiser, and you look at the Fang Fighter, getting in at range 1 and getting those 3 evades, and then kind of Solus can do a Talon roll and get 2 focuses, and pretty usually you'll still stay in that range 1 bubble. You're definitely pushing that engagement as close as up and personal as possible, because these ships will get the upper hand on offense and defense for what they can bring to the table. And then Dirge probably is the one that's following behind slow, like getting those long range shots with proton cannons and just punching in damage from back there if you need to. Or you put him in the flank. He's got Lone Wolf. He's got his own rerolls and can just come in from the flank and push in some damage there too.
Yeah, in my opinion, I guess I didn't read Duncan's synopsis of this, but in my opinion, he's the flanker here. Because that's what I would do with that Dirge, because then if you have like a Sabine, right, that wants to hang out by an objective, or one of the FO TIE fighters that just goes, oh, I don't care about playing the game, I'm just gonna steal one of these objectives, you literally just send Dirge in and it murders them and in 1 to 2 turns, and then Dirge can go on and do something else. So I like it. It's It's a different list.
Mandalorian is not good. I don't care if Duncan won a store champ with him. Mandalorian is not good.
He loves. I mean, he had a whole, like I said, he had a whole write up about why they chose the Mando over everyone
Do
else.
people not realize his blue maneuvers are only 1 through 4 straight? I don't know. I mean, like, sure, you get optics. Sure, you have the child, and you just have to be looked at for your ability to trigger. But it's not. It's not good. It's not worth the points.
Yeah, I mean the dial is definitely something that's tough to get through, but you basically have to choose a lane and keep it there. He's essentially a medium base TIE defender that just has a worse dial.
Yeah, that doesn't have a white 4K
or a boost. But yeah, I mean you basically choose a lane with Mando and you go as slow as possible, or even if you find a way to bank and curve your way in so that we can still keep time on target, then he's okay. But yeah, you have to plan very carefully where you're going to go with Mando in order for you to get the most the best effectiveness on him. And I think that as the game progresses and there's less ships on the table, which we're not seeing that so much now in 2.5, but as the ship count goes down, so does his effectiveness. But still, congrats to Duncan Howard bringing the Mandalorian to a fight and winning. Yeah.
All right. The next list, JJ, I'm going to let you read the list because I'm very, very confused by this list, especially the Dirge. JJ, what is this list?
All right, so we got another scum list here. We got Sirisu with Juke and heavy laser cannon, Dirge with proton cannons, contraband cybernetics, and predator, Cavill with a dorsal turret, false transponder codes, Bosk with marksmanship and expert handling, Ahav with juke and targeting computer, and Captain Seavor with juke to round off that list. So this is kind of a very defensive minded list because you're pretty much taking evades on all these ships for the most part that can take them. Sirisu kind of makes sense, right? You're taking an evade and having that defensive reroll makes it very difficult for Sirisu to get killed or to take damage. And then on top of that, you're using that evade token offensively to modify somebody's dice. And if you can get that bullseye, you get the HLC off. Dirge, he's got the proton cannon from the range 2 to 3 shots. Once he starts getting to range 1, having that passive mod in the bullseye, I could see it'll be okay. To make sure that your dice are better at range 1 and preventing them from using tokens at range 1 as well. Cadville with false transponders codes is a choice, definitely. But Ahav and Captain Seavor. So Ahav, his ability works when he starts targeting like larger ships, like a medium base or a large base, and gets to roll extra dice for that. Like he is a lower initiative, so having an evade on him kind of makes sense just to make sure he can get shots in. Captain Seavor. So it took me a minute to like really think about it. So if you're able to jam with Captain Seavor, assuming that he's not in the bullseye and he can, get a shot off without being killed first, that ship is not going to have any tokens, which means that juke from Sirisu, Ahav, and Seavor all of a sudden starts pushing in damage a lot better. So if you're engaging a ship that decides to try to take out Captain Seaboard and gets jammed and has no other tokens on there, all of a sudden this list starts doing some damage there and starts pushing in some stuff. And then Dirge with the proton cannons can start pushing in crits there. And all of a sudden, those jukes are starting to be pretty good. But yeah, I'm really impressed that they went 4-0 with this list.
3-1.
Oh, they went 3-1. Okay. They went 3-1. Hey, that's still really good. And I'm just interested in how they actually set up this list to engage ships, especially on different objectives like salvage and stuff.
So we don't know Cavill could be changed, right?
Yeah.
Like, why run Cavill? Can I ask why we're running Cavill here?
Because he's I5.
Is that why? Is that the only reason?
That's the only reason I can think of.
That and does he get additional die for the
dorsal? Yeah, I mean the dorsal could be 4 dice.
Yeah.
Sure. I mean, you have 3 4s or 3 5s, a 4, and 2 3s. Also, Seavor's ability works before your attack dice are rolled, so you jam someone and then you juke them. So, like,
Yes.
even if they saved tokens, you're still messing them up. I've had conversation with Zach about Ahav and Cody, actually. They like Ahav because there's a lot more medium and large bases in there, like the Arcs or Han. The Physiaxes, I guess the Mandalorian in this tournament. Stuff like that. So you do roll extra dice. Now you can just have 4 green dice blank out instead of 3. So that's cool. Predator and Dirge. There has been times when I've run Dirge or Cad Bane where I've shot the proton cannons and then they're still in bullseye at like range 2 or 3. So the
Not very
reroll's not
often,
too bad.
right? I mean,
almost every game.
oh, okay, all right. I don't. It's weird to me.
I bullseye things. It's not hard, especially if they're larger. But if you're going for range 1 kind of stuff, like generally you just want Fearless. But you could probably just flank with Dirge in this because you have enough. Probably put a Hav Seavord Sarasu in like a little block. Put Bosk and Gavel and Dirge on the other side. Because that's just a pain to go after Sarasu with an evade, Seavor with an evade, a Hav with an evade, and they all get 1 reroll.
Yeah.
That would be how I would probably set it up. And then you just shoot Sarasu 3 times, and then Sarasu's dead. See it every time.
Yeah. Gotta spend the evade. I don't know. It's.
Yeah, I mean, mass juke is effective. Like, it pushes damage through if you roll hits. So there's that.
Does. It does. It's just, I don't know.
You just gotta just roll hits.
Yeah,
And then
just roll
not get
natties.
shot at. Yeah, you just had a
roll
natty
natties.
out and then not get shot at, so you still have your evade.
Yeah.
All right. Well, there's so many other ones. So here, I guess I will leave it up to the two of you to make the decision, and I guess I'll be the tiebreaker vote. No, I won't be the tiebreaker vote. We'll let you guys argue it out. So we could cover more pattern analyzer stuff, or we could kind of switch modes and save some of the rest of the ones for next week. And kind of go through them. I know I really kind of wanted to do some of the Berlin stuff. There was some cool lists in there. They actually quite a few. I didn't know if this was a Worlds qualifier or just a store champ, but there was like quite a few people that showed up to that one in Berlin.
I think
like
it said Berlin's open.
It did, but then
Yeah.
it says store champ behind. So I don't know what it is.
It was 34 people, so I don't know.
They probably ran 2 kits. Yeah.
Either which way, we could cover more championships, or we could move on to the other 2 segments we talked about tonight.
We don't have much time. If we do, we'll probably just get started for the segment.
Do we really need to go over the extended stuff? Maybe we could save that for next week, and then do just like some more meta things.
Yeah, I think that's probably a good call.
All right,
kind of keep
that's
it
what we'll
consistent.
do. Let's move into our Academy 101 segment for tonight. Academy 101 segment. Our goal is to kind of analyze the meta, right? And so what we want to do is look at some of the meta list staples along with some of their components. And then what we can do is what makes up these lists and what makes them win, right? And then kind of explain how to deconstruct them. So we're going to talk about strengthnesses, weaknesses. We have a whole bunch of them. We're not going to cover all of them tonight. We're only going to cover Rebel. That's it. So I want to make sure you all know that you're not in for like a 5-hour segment. I don't think it'll be 5 hours, but you're not in for 3 hours worth of content. But Alex and I have gone through and put together a bunch of lists that we can talk through every week. So this is kind of what going to be our new reoccurring segment for Academy 101 while we are going through until we kind of hit some of I think we're hitting kind of a meta I don't want to call it a meta stalemate, but we're hitting where we're seeing a lot of the similar pieces with some tweaks to them. So what we're going to do is review the strength and weaknesses. We're going to talk about flying the list, kind of obstacles that you want to take, and then discuss placement, right? So to begin with, we're going to do Rebel, because I think Rebel right now is the most popular faction to run. Which is funny because we complained about nobody running Rebel before, and Bartos, topped that Worlds, and then all of a sudden now everybody's running Rebels because they gave us a 7-point Han instead of an 8-point Han. So, yeah. So, Alex, what was the first list that you wanted to throw at us for tonight?
Oh, we could do the Han and the Fen one. The 4-ship Rebel ones, 4-ship Han list. Pretty popular. So, yes, this is actually gaining more traction than 5-ship Rebels. And I'm not sure if it's because 4 ships are much easier to play, or if it's because I6s and people love those. But generally, this has Han. You do typically see the chopper engine upgrade one more frequently than the trick shot one. It also has Fen Rao. The most popular upgrades are Crack Shot, Predator, and Beskar. It's a very aggressive Fen Rao. Boy Luke, because you shouldn't have a Rebel list without Boy Luke, honestly. And Keo. Typically, you see Juke. Sometimes you see Prockets. Other times, you'll see Concussion Lone Wolf. Concussion Lone Wolf works pretty well in this particular list, but the most popular ones kitted out for this is Juke, which also makes sense.
Fair enough. So, in that aspect, right? In my opinion, like the other Han that you ran, like you said, is the trick shot Han. I think we've all agreed we like the engine upgrade better. We just feel that it's a more important piece in the list because it gives Han that versatility he's not getting with trick shot as easily. And so I really, the Han is not really the bigger discussion piece, right? In this list, because you're using Fen instead of another heavy hitter, right? So instead of like taking Sabine, you're taking Keo, right? Because you're running Fen and not Chopper, or Fen and not Lebo, or something like that. Do you feel that Fen is stronger even in this list? Because is he going to be whose stress is he taking away at that point?
I feel like Fen replaces like Sabine and Wet J-Wing, which you see more in like the 5 Rebel list. But yeah, you can also downgrade Keo to Sabine and take something like a Lebo or a Chopper if you want more.
Or an Ezra
bigger
gauntlet.
ships. Or that. That's certainly an option you can take. I'm not sure if I would call that upgrading the list, though.
So
but no, Fen Rao, his ability doesn't happen super frequently. I would say it is, occasionally it'll happen if you have like Luke jousting someone else, right? Or someone got up in Keo's face, or someone's like really good and decided to go Han in front of him. But he's not really there for his ability. He's more there because he's an I6 that hits very hard and can push a lot of damage through with Crack Shot Predator. It's the Fang Fighter. He's got the Concordia face-off, so if you're both at each other at range 1, you change into an auto evade, and you have Beskar to mitigate any crits. And just being I6, you have 2 I6s. Like Luke does his own thing, basically. He kind of walks up there. Keo and Fen Rao are fast, and you can flank with pretty much either one of them. And then Han just does Han things where he can orbit the board and do a lot of damage, or get actually pretty aggressive in this kind of stuff because you do have engine upgrades, so you can boost if you need to.
Yeah, I mean the other part of it too is like mitigating for like when you need to do like turnaround maneuvers for Luke Skywalker. If you're range of that Fen Rao, he can take away that stress and just help out from there. It comes even more into play when you start getting crits like the damage engine on Luke, which makes his hard turns red. Just being able to find a way to mitigate that stress with Fen Rao can help. The other part of it too is the lowdown Fen Rao, right? Because you can downgrade that crack shot into clan training and Mando optics. And if Fen already gets into a pretty good position with his maneuver without having to boost and barrel roll, you can you can set up a target lock ahead of time with Mando optics and just take clan training training and get a red focus. And if you kill the ship, or you feel pretty confident that you're going to kill a ship, you get that claim training token back and use it for another turn. And there's a lot of versatility with that Fen Rao. Always having an I6 is always really good. And on top of that, he is a really great objective grabber, because if he's at range 1, he can scramble an objective and then just take clan training focus for defense if he needs to, and still have that mod there. So there's a lot of versatility in that Fen Rao.
Well, he can't take clan training focus if he ain't got a clan training. But
that's what I'm saying.
Get your point.
If you break down the crack shot into clan
Yes.
training and optics, but yeah.
Yes. And I think both are viable. I think the difference is a playstyle thing, right? Like Alex is used to, bullseyeing, whereas JJ doesn't know how to bullseye to save his life. It's kind of like the Giants. So, I mean...
yeah.
Anyway, so okay, with this list, what are you bringing obstacle-wise? Are you bringing large rocks? Are you catering to Han with large rocks? Or are you bringing like gas clouds to mess with your opponents if they go through them? What are you bringing, Alex?
Honestly, probably medium rocks. This is going to be spoilers for what we're going to talk about, but the way you counter Han easily is with your turn 0 setup. And if you both bring really large rocks, it's much easier to trap Han. So if you bring medium ones, you get a little bit more extra room. It sucks for arcs, like going against them, but it does like free up some space for like Keo side slips per se, or like Fen Rao to still be able to too hard out of an engagement. And like it's really not hard to get, like the size of the rock doesn't really matter super much for Han, because you're a large base, you can be near a rock. Like it's not hard, especially if you have engine. Like it's really just take those blue Mandalorian rocks and you're all set.
Yeah. Agree. Yeah, I mean, and even with the gas clouds, if you do decide to do that, I mean, you got that really long bacon one, which if you're placing it at a 45 or 22.5 degree angle, that gives you a lot of coverage for when Han needs to do like a 3-bank around it. You can usually stay pretty close to it and be at range 1 of it, so that way you can trigger the rerolls if you need to, without having it to take up a lot of space on the board. So.
All right. Countering. Well, so I guess, do we want to do how do you play the list versus countering the list? I don't know if we go how to play the list first and then counter after that. Okay.
Like this list is like a high damage output kind of spike damage list, because you have a double modded proton torp when Luke just rolls up with a lock. You have juke to put some damage through. You have force to modify that. And then you can recover the force by side slipping. It's pretty nasty. And then Fen Rao just hits like a hammer, and Han Solo has like 1.5 modded shots with the Perceptive Copilot Pistan. It's best, it's a do-over if you roll poorly with his ability. I'm not going to say it's double modded. People say it's double modded. It's not how that works. You get 2 chances, and you just take the last one no matter what.
So. Yeah, you don't get to go back and go, ooh, I like my 2 focuses and 2 blanks before.
Yeah, you just have to roll not good the first time, and then like the auto reroll is much better. You can get 1 hit and 3 blanks as opposed to just rerolling and get 4 crits.
So I've rolled one hit, 1 eyeball, and a blank, re-rolled into 1 hit and 0 and 2 blanks. So There you go. It does happen.
Yeah. I mean,
I need advanced optics on Han. Give me some advanced optics on Han.
Oh my God, no.
My focus.
No. My goodness, no. That's a terrible idea.
You're right, Ray Gunner.
Oh, there we go. Give me Ray Gunner. There we go. We call it baby Ray Gunner, so you have to roll a die. Because she would have been a baby if she existed back then. So you have to roll a die before. So you don't get the free thing. You have to roll the die to get the ray effect. But we can say you roll an attack die and a hit or a crit, you get the ray effect. There you go.
What if we get like a Sabine gunner, right? A new one that says pretend to use the force and not mod your dice.
That would never happen, and you know it. So it's going to be she does use the force. She doesn't. She doesn't have the force. She has no talent. She has no talent.
My Obi-Wan has Force, and he still can't modify his dice well. But no, like this list just hits super hard. That's what it's trying to do. It's going to delete ships. It has an I-6 that's going to put a lot of damage into whatever else you're bringing, and then follow up with a proton torpedo.
Yep. And that's why they're running Juke in that list with Keo. But to me, I think the concussion missiles, Lone Wolf, allows Keo to be more independent like Luke, and allows you to be more versatile. I understand in a 5-ship list why Juke works very well, but in a 4-ship list, to me, the Lone Wolf feels
I mean,
better.
also you're eating a shot from Han, a Fen, and like a proton torpedo. Like you probably don't have any mods left for that Juke. But also like this list is solid for assault. Like Han's really good at assault. He can be there. Fen Rao's always going to be roughly around whatever objective you guys are knife fighting over. Salvage is not too bad actually because Keo, you don't get the link into a boost, but you can also side slip with a crate. Luke will take it, especially because you have attack speed. You can still boost anyway. It's not a boost action. And for like scramble, it's a little bit like Han can do it if he's like doesn't really have 2 ships by him. Luke can do it because he's got the Force. Like Keo can do it. It's not too bad. It's just Fen Rao is the one that's not really doing a lot of scenario play. Fen Rao is there to be a hammer, try not to die.
Yeah, and Han doesn't have to do that. Like we watched a Han do scenario play this weekend on GSP, like we did. So, all right, countering the list, is Fen your first target? Is that who you target? Like I don't see a point in going after Keo to some extent at this point, unless they give you Keo, I guess. Like to me, it feels like it's a Fen or a Luke right here.
I always feel like Luke, just because Luke just puts so much more damage out, and he can recover. So you kind of want to take him out as fast as you can. That's pretty much for every Rebel list. You should try to kill Luke first, unless they serve you something up.
Yeah, I mean, if they give you Han, then just kill Han. But what's the probability that you're getting a Han? You're not getting Han served up clean. Like, especially because if Han's going in and he's going to take 3 shots, Han's just boosting. That's why you run the fucking engine upgrade so you can get away, so you're not taking a bunch of damage. Yeah,
and that's the thing about this particular list too, is like when you're facing off against it, you can't really split your fire on this, right? Because if you're going to set up a kill box to target Han specifically, then you make sure that A, you don't give him an escape route, and then B, that you focus all your fire on that ship, right? You get all your shots in as much as possible to get it in there. If you can't bring it down to less than half health and know where he's going to be the following turn, then it's not worth it. Just change your targets, go into Luke, take Luke out. He's far easier to take out than Han is, and then just work your way from there. If Han decides to run away, he'll probably take a few turns to get back into the fight, and he'll be less effective that way. Sure, he might take some range 3 shots at you, but you're going to survive a lot longer that way if Han is running away and you're grabbing objectives, making up the points that you're losing for any lost ships that go along the way.
You have to be very disciplined when you go after Han, because you kill Han by just having a bunch of range 2 shots at Han. Like that's why you put engine upgrade on him, so he boosts out of everything in range 1. You can't do that in range 2. Granted, you're going to get double shot at with Bistan and Perceptive Copilot. But when you're going against the Han, you need to surround them with range 2 and 3 shots, like 3 ships. And it's a much easier way than killing than try to dive in there at range 1 and stop them from there. But also, obstacle placement, like turn 0 is very important for Han. You have to build essentially a lane where he's got a 50-50 shot of him going down one lane or the other one. You can't give him multiple options to orbit around the board.
Mm-hmm.
It's rough to describe right now without physically being able to show you guys like what kind of obstacles you would do, but you want to like create lanes for Han to go down, and then you know where he's going to be.
Yeah, because if you allow a lane but then leave a big open space next to it, Han now has 2 specific options. And unless you have 6 or 7 ships, you're not blocking both lanes from him.
Right.
I mean, Han can 3 bank boost. Han can 4 straight boost. I mean, like Han can do way too many things for his own good. Like there should be like, I don't know. There should be like this trigger that when Han goes too fast or does something too crazy, like you can like raise the flag once a game. It's like a condition card where Han has to roll back his maneuver or something crazy like that.
I mean, if you and for the newer players that are looking to like strategize for this, when it comes up, there was a very good match between Josh Benjamin and Ryan Staniszewski for the Nova Open, which is the top 4 matchup that they had. Although Ryan lost that game, I think that was a very good example of setting up your objectives and your obstacle placements to really limit where Han had to go. In that game, all the obstacles were set like towards the middle and third part of the board where Han had no easy way to turn in through the obstacles to engage. And Ryan placed all the objectives on one spot, on one side of the board away from the obstacles. And it was a position where Han, if he decided to go and try to contest objectives or shoots, he was going to face the full bulk of the resistance and ended up having to turn away. And ultimately, Han did die later on in that matchup. But it was a very good way to mitigate Han's power and keep him on the run away from it while you can contest objectives later on. So, yeah.
All right, moving on to the next list. It's a very similar list, so there's probably not too much difference. Other than now you get Sabine with Beskar, right? Or again, you could have Sabine with Lone Wolf if you'd rather. I think in the 5-ship list, Sabine with Beskar is better. Though I like Lone Wolf a million times more for Sabine, but that's just me. And in the case where you're able to place your objective first, it allows you to place your objective where Sabine can just go get it, and not have to worry about it. But long story short is this is a very similar-ish list, except for you're taking and breaking down one of the ships, right? You're saying, I don't care about the I-6. I now care about having Wedge, which reduces the die. And Wedge, thank God, cannot take Juke, because that would just be very awful. I don't know who. Somebody figure that out. Thank God, because that would be awful. And the other option for Wedge here, if you don't want to go crack shot, like I think crack shot is the easier thing to get and line up.
It's the most frequently taken upgrade with Wedge is the crack shot marksmanship.
Yeah, because it's easy to line up on bigger bases, on a medium bases, and then if you don't get it, it's like whatever. Wedge is reducing a die anyway. I think the bigger thing with this, you could run the Predator if you wanted to, but then you don't run marksmanship. I don't know what you run if you're running Predator, because then you have an extra point, right? So you probably still run the marksmanship and throw the other point in the garbage. But crack shot is the easier, let's push damage through. It's the more aggro version of that, right? So, Alex, with this list, is your rock setup or objective setup much different than the last list that we played?
Yeah, this list I would actually bring big rocks because I don't have to maneuver Fen Rao around them, and because it creates, you can cycle the ships in and out a lot easier if you have larger rocks. So you can cycle between bringing in really fast ships like the A-Wings, and then Han can just kind of skirt around because, I mean, like Wedge is, he's not going to be like your main damage dealer, but he's a pain. Especially with crack shot, if you are a 2 agility ship like Luke or something, and he actually lines up the bullseye on you, you only got 1 die, and regardless of what you're going to roll, you're just going to crack shot it and put some damage through. So yeah, I mean, like in this list cycles, and this list plays the scenarios more than the 4-ship Rebel list. Not ideal, but Wedge can pick up a crate. Again, you still have Luke. Sabine can pick it up. You lose her ability, but you can just go around and evade and have Beskar.
So, weird question. I'm just going to ask a weird question. What if you put the sensitive controls on them or whatever, or vector cannon. Sorry, it's not synthetic control. It's
Yeah.
vector cannon.
Yeah.
No.
No.
Okay, all right.
I don't like that with Kyo. I don't like it with Wedge. I mean, like Wedge, there's enough I4s right now that you can arc dodge by boosting, linking into boosting, or getting people down, like hunting people down with a focus boost with Wedge. Like those arcs are 4s. Bodica's a 4. I mean, Kyo and Sabine are 3s, and they're in a lot of lists. And a lot of like the T70s are 4 or lower.
So what you're telling me is this list is more of an objective playlist than a let me hammer you into the ground list.
Yeah, it's much more of a generalist list. Then like you don't have the oh god, Fenrau just blew up randomly out of nowhere kind of thing. Now I'm down 5 points. It's you have to go through enough ships in order to get those 5 points back. You have to go through Wedge and Sabine, and that's just kind of a pain, especially if you don't have a lot of rounds in there. And it's more of a I'm going to wear you down kind of list than just smashing the face with a hammer.
Fair enough. JJ, with this one, if you're bringing big obstacles and objectives, how are you placing them specifically? Are you creating lanes for Han? Are you trying to maneuver it so that you have like flankers? How would you fly that list?
You want to create avenues for your ships to converge on a target if you need to, just depending on the scenario, of course, because you're wanting to make sure that Wedge and Luke can keep up and finish off targets that Han softens up at the I6 shots that come in. So being able to have those lanes available, I mean, they don't have to follow Han like an escort, but they can come in as a flank, right? Where your opponent has to make a choice to engage Luke and Wedge or take on Han. And if they decide to turn in there, then Han can easily get around them with the arc facing around the sides and pummel from the sides. Or if Han needs to get out in a jam, Luke and Wedge, Luke specifically with the 4 straight attack speed boost, can really keep up with that large base and take shots as needed. I mean, he has proton torpedoes, so he just needs to be in range 3 of a shot, and that's probably the ideal range for Luke to push maximum damage. And Wedge can 5 straight boosts if he needs to. He can cover a lot of ground that way to go help support Han when he needs to. Kyo and Sabine obviously being the strong objective carriers here, so they can stay behind or at least set up for when Han comes back around, and they could be waiting for the enemies in that particular area when you draw the engagement towards them, and they can help out offensively.
All right, countering this list. Anything to counter this list specifically that's different than the other lists we talked about?
That's not too much different than the 4 ship rebels. Spike damage is more important in this one than it is in the other one because you have more 3 agility ships. So if you have like 4 attack dice, like with Chopper, proton torpedoes, or a way to remove defense dice by either denying range 3 with like Raj rockets and the Sat Salvo, or like having blackout or something, spike damage is a lot more important because Luke hates spike damage. Luke only has 2 defense dice, and sometimes Luke doesn't roll paint on both defense dice.
Yeah, honestly, with this, my main priority here is to take out the objective carriers here, because this list feels a lot more geared to take on objective points. And if I can knock out their objective carriers, specifically in Kyo and Sabine, if I can eliminate them within 2 shots apiece, then I have an edge on the, of course, depends wildly a lot on what I'm bringing to the list, but the average that we're seeing right now are 5 ship lists across the board. So if I can reduce their numbers by 2, that gives me an edge in claiming scenarios, and that way I can put the pressure and make the rebels come to me instead of me having to chase them, and set myself up defensively where I can focus fire on whoever's coming in and go from there, right? So if my opponent's going to serve up or leave Kyo and or Sabine by themselves on the side while they're bringing their strong forces through Luke and with Luke and Han on the other side. I want to place my objectives so I can spread them out as much as I can and place the obstacles as a barrier between the two and just go hard for those objective grabbers. And I'll be ahead of the game at that point.
All right. The last list that we have for Rebels, kind of on the more popular side, we talked a little bit about this tonight, but we have Heratani, which I guess I don't know how to spell because you spelt it different than I did. So there we go. There's that type of thing. But essentially, we have Hera with Magpulse, Hopeful, Sabine with Beskar, Bentic Two Tubes with Jin and Perceptive Copilot and Hopeful, Bodica instead of Fen this time with Predator, Mando, and Beskar, making her a little bit more survivable and still aggressive at the same time. She's pretty bloody aggressive.
Mm-hmm.
And then we have the boy Luke. And the way this list works is you want Hera to be able to get something from Bentic. Typically, you're running Hera kind of behind or to the side, allowing Hera to take an evade, be able to use Hera to shoot take a lock and get an evade from Bentic when Bentic passes that token to Hera. Could be a focus token too. It doesn't have to be the evade, but it allows Hera to be able to share what she needs to share. So if Hera shoots a Magpulse and it goes really well and she doesn't have to re-roll or do anything fancy with it, then it gives her the opportunity to pass that lock off, right? If she needs to, which could be crazy good for Luke. I mean, just giving Luke that lock is stupid.
Yeah, a sneaky thing you can do if Luke was not able to get a lock on like an I6 or something before him is just lock it with Hera and then have Luke instinctive aim and then right as he does that, pass over the lock so he can reroll and then do the focus.
Yeah. Which is
silly.
Crazy to me. But you can do that. You also have Hera double modded with a Magpulse, which is pretty good. You know, Magpulse at I6 is really good. Like, people are running swarm tactics with Hera, right? Like, to get Bodica up to an I6, and I think in this list, you don't want to do that, right? Like, that feels like Hera is just too cornered and caged.
Yeah, this list, you're stressing more Hera than you are just straight damage dealing with Bodica, because just giving Hera a focus with Benthic, and then if you're defensive or you don't have a shot with Hera, just take another focus action or evade action, and then whenever you pass it with Hera, then you can choose if you're in range of Benthic, you can just choose when you pass over the focus if you want it to be an evade.
Yeah, this is like the original, what we would call the original like SOC arcs, like garbage, right? Like this is kind of the original version of this. If you fit
with no penalty.
Yeah, with no penalty.
Yeah, with no penalty. And more agility.
Yeah, and more agility. It's like if you put Garvin in this list, like you then now get to generate the extra focus too on top of that.
Infinite focus.
Yeah, that's before Bodica. Garvin was a thing, right? You know, like you would use Garvin instead. I don't know. Is Garvin 4 points?
Yeah, Garvin is 4 points.
Boy, Garvin is 4 points.
Okay. Yeah, with the APT.
Yes, which you can then double mod.
Yeah,
because you can just pass on the focus.
Yeah, so I mean, there is a little bit of an option. You could run Garvin instead of Bodica. I tend to feel Bodica is better because Bodica is going to hit harder, even with the depleted. Like, I mean, you're still rolling 5 or 6 dice, no matter what. You know, like that's you're really running. You know, like she's going to be able to do things other people can't do. So.
Yeah. It's also real nice when, remember, we said that Luke doesn't always roll pain on his dice.
Yeah.
What if you just pass him an evade? Because he can.
Because he can't roll green dice to save his life.
Yep.
Right, yeah. Just Hera pass him an evade. Yep. Or you can roll up, take the focus action, and then turn it into an evade token.
Yeah. And in this list, I think the only ship that you don't want scrambling, right, is Bentic. Bentic, you don't want the scramble just because you want Bentic to be able to pass the tokens off and be that battery. Outside of that, like, this list is insanely versatile. Like, this is a very, very versatile list. This, again, is not a hammer list. You have 2 hammers in there if you need them. Other than that, this list is not a specific, like, I'm going to, like, aggro you to the ground. This is definitely a very objective-based list and a very, very defensive list. This is so if they fuck with Han, if they mess with Han, this is what we're gonna see. We're gonna see a lot of this if they mess with Han and not Boy Luke. If they mess with Boy Luke, it won't be as powerful. But
then just put Garvin in there.
Exactly, yeah, like or Corrin or somebody else, I guess, if you have to, something that's gonna do.
Ahsoka can fit in.
Damage.
Ahsoka A-wing would fit in nicely with this.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there's a lot of things you can mess around with.
Ahsoka A-wing would be great if they gave me some more loadout. Like, why did they cut my loadout with Ahsoka? For Christ's sake,
they dropped her down a point.
I don't care.
She's already stupid good.
I know. I have an Ahsoka A-wing that's painted up as Ahsoka that I would like to run. It just sucks I can't run her.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah, the fun thing, too, is if you start focusing Benthic, because that might be your first inclination, is be like, oh, I'm just going to shoot Benthic. He's the battery. Then he just doesn't pass the focus. Now he's just focus evaded. And then, Hera can pass him another evade.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
So he's just going to get 2 evades every turn.
Yeah. So the way this list works is it's a bad decision point list for the most part. The only points you're going to be working towards scoring is if they leave a ship on the outskirts. So when you fly this list, in my opinion, one of the big things is do not fly anybody but maybe Sabine away from the other ships. Keep everybody within that 2 to 3 range bubble. For your attacking and aggro. And that means this list does very well on turn 0. So your turn 0 has to be pretty good for this list, and you have to know how to fly these ships together without running into each other. So, there is
Just stop with Benthic the first round, then it'll be behind everyone.
Yeah, so when I went to Nova, I played against Ben Doyle, who actually flew this list, and it was a very close match. I lost by 1 point at the end there, but the way I was able to get it very close was that very same issue, spacing. I set up the obstacles in a way where there was basically a lane in the center, and I deployed on the opposite way. So he had deployed in a way where he can have his ships line up in a straight line and gently, turn and keep pacing. But the second you start getting into, tight turns and tight corners, as long as I had a ship in the way that would start blocking his ships and cause a chain, then all of a sudden friendly bumps come in. And even if they don't take damage from the friendly bumps, just denying them tokens for use, I was able to get Hera to bump twice, and that prevented Hera from having that additional token to pass out. And now you just have Benthic with 1 and Hera with 1, or whoever Benthic passed the token off to, and that really helped me in the damage race and pushing out a lot of damage onto his ships there, and just barely losing that game. But yeah, this list likes to fly together just to be in range of each other to pass around tokens. And if you can disrupt that, if you can disrupt their spacing, cause the friendly bumps, or force them to fly away where they're not having their arcs face all the same ship, then you have a chance at that point to push in damage to their linchpins, which in this case would be Benthic and Hera. Those are the ones that are able to really make the rest of the list shine. Sure, you're going to get some Bodica shots after you, but if you can set it up properly, then you don't have to fear the shots from Bodica.
You know what 2 ships love this list? Cad and
Discords.
Dirge.
Oh yeah, Cad and
Discords
Dirge.
too. But Cad and Dirge love this list. Any rogues, I bet you that 4 rogue list ship could eat this list to some extent alive.
Yeah.
Oh, you want to pass the token? You can't use it. Oh, you want to do that? You can't use it. Doesn't matter if it doesn't matter. I'm shooting you with sync laser. If you're in my bullseye, you can't use anything. Love it. So we talked a little bit about destroying the list, right? Now how about flying the list? What is the success rate outside of turn 0, and how do you make that happen, Alex?
Well, Bodica and Luke are going to be your damage dealers. So I would keep Benthic a little bit back. Again, unironically just stopping on the first turn and trying to figure it out later. keep it back, pass over the focus, put Luke in front. Boudica can see if you can flank with Boudica. If you can flank with Boudica, you don't need to pass her tokens. But just kind of keeping it all close to each other and enough that Benthic is either in the back, focusing for everyone, or bumping into your opponent's list, because you still get that double focus and still be able to pass that off. So if you can like jam Benthic in there, being a medium base, maybe surrounded by a couple obstacles or so they can't flank it too well, he's actually kind of a menace. Just one straight into your enemy and focus it the whole time. But really, you just want to get that proton torpedoes off. You want to get Boudica as much damage as you can and try to protect Boudica. Because I feel like if Boudica dies, this list, it doesn't fall apart, but it loses a lot of the edge that it had.
Yeah. And I agree with you. I think Boudica is kind of a linchpin. Same with Luke. If you get rid of either of them, like, the list struggles on damage output, you know.
I mean, I would try to go for Boudica as fast as I could, honestly, if I was going against this, which sucks because Luke is going to hurt and punish you real bad. And it goes against what I said earlier about always going after Luke first. But in this case, Luke has evades.
Yeah.
So you definitely want to try to go after Boudica as much as you can. Not at range 1, because that's not going to work. But you
just got to get a CAD Dirge Proton Cannon, you know, kind of like pincer move lined up on Boudica, and you won't have a Boudica anymore. It's true. She's gone. Like, oh, you want to shoot me? No problem. Go ahead. Shoot Dirge again. Like, I don't care. You got 4 health.
Yeah, that's why you bring Scum and just put Dengar on your ship, and then Boudica shoots you, and you're like, that's funny. Here's a quarter of your health gone.
Yeah. Have fun with that.
I can survive these shots a lot more than you can. But also, like, Hera has a weakness with that Mag Pulse. If you are directly facing the enemy, you can focus down Hera if Hera takes lock, because you only have 1 mod, and Hera can't pass to herself. So you have to be really careful with that Mag Pulse. You either try to flank-ish, come at a different angle where Hera's only gets shot once, maybe, with that Mag Pulse. Like, I don't think you can do that too well on, like, an Alpha Strike. It's more like a utility piece there. I would not just straight joust Hera into the opposing ships.
No.
Because Hera, you can have a focus evade with Hera, but also Hera's not getting support, and Hera could die real fast, so you have 4 health.
Yeah, green dice will betray you 100% of the time.
Also, bombs are super good against this list, by the way. If you happen to have a fair amount of bombs, because these are at range 2 of each other. Boudica doesn't want to take bombs. Hera doesn't want to take bombs.
That new Deathfire with the swift approach. Ooh,
yeah,
got some nice targets right there.
Well, let me move and throw a proton bomb. Hey, you have fun with that.
And although you can mitigate some of like saturation salvo stuff by passing evades and focuses, saturation salvo still hurts. It's still Boudica does not want to get shot with a saturation salvo barrage rocket.
You roll 2 evades, they make you re-roll. You roll back into blinks, you get 1 evade, take 2 damage. You know, I mean,
Yep.
It happens all the time. And if you're in bullseye, they're just gonna, like, with the barrage rocket, they're just gonna re-roll their damn, you know. They're like, oh, we're not gonna live long enough. We're just gonna re-roll this shit, you know.
Or you're, Tomax, and now you're just like, cool, I have a plasma torp, so like, if I get Luke, 3 hits, Luke's still losing 2.
Luke, do you like your shields, Luke? Because you sure as hell doesn't feel like it.
Yeah, or you can actually like lay into Benthic too, with like plasma torps, because he has enough shields.
So, all right. Anything else on Rebel meta staples before we wrap up this segment?
I like Heratonic because I'm degenerate.
I agree.
Needs more Garvin. I want infinite focus though.
Yeah,
it's funnier.
Well, wait till they bump Boy Luke up in price, and Alex, your wish will become the command. Like, it'll be a very simple, like, nope, I'm not paying 6 points for Boy Luke. I'm going to throw Garvin back in there.
Chopper or Lebo at 6 points.
No, you're not going to do that. All right.
No, it's run Lando, baby.
Oh my god. All right. Here we are. That was the end of our first Academy 101 series where we talk about meta and analyzing lists. We are in the middle of a series where we're going to analyze the meta lists from each of the different factions, maybe minus Scum. I don't know what we'll do with Scum yet, but either which
I'll
way,
figure something out.
there we go. That'll be the last one we do because that one's gonna be a little bit harder. I think
There are no meta Scum lists.
Yeah, there is not, except for I don't know. The Mando, I guess, is gonna be meta.
Oh,
Anyway, if it is, maybe we should make a bet on this. Maybe
do you know
we
how many
should make a
people
bet.
have played Mando and they're just like, never mind. I tried this, it didn't work.
We'll see.
That is almost all of GSP Scum chat.
All right. Either which way, that is our Academy 101 segment talking about Rebels lists in the meta. With that being said, thank you all for joining us tonight. We will be back. I hope we'll be back a little bit later this week with an Ahsoka rundown. It's a little late tonight. I have to get up early for work tomorrow, so I'm not. I would rather edit the episode so we get the episodes out to you on time than give you an Ahsoka rundown. And I know what's going to happen is JJ and I are going to get into a Thrawn debate that could span an hour.
Yes.
So,
Yes,
because
absolutely.
him and I do not agree on a couple of things. We do both agree on Thrawn's appearance and how amazing it is and how it's like the best thing in the world for Star Wars, in my opinion. And I hope we get a lot more Thrawn. But we don't agree on the direction that they're taking. Anyway, so all I can say is that episode is more that we, even if we could do it right now, I don't think we'd be done by midnight tonight. So
no, it'll be like 1 a.m. by the time we're done.
yeah, and I have plenty of booze to deal with it. I don't feel like getting 6.5 hours of sleep. And we have a big day for my daughter tomorrow as well. So I want to make sure that for the next couple of days I'm rested as well. So we'll try to shoot for maybe Wednesday, and then we'll cover episode maybe 6 and 7 on Wednesday. Is 7 going to be the finale? It's
no,
not.
8.
No.
8.
Okay. So we'll try and cover it because this weekend I am gone to Columbus, Ohio this weekend. So I will be gone. I have a concert I'm taking a good friend of mine to. Originally we were going to take him and his brother before his brother passed away, but we are going to be gone to Columbus for a couple of days, and I will not be around this weekend to cover Ahsoka. So we will try to cover it on Wednesday, maybe Tuesday night, depending on how giddy JJ is. I don't know when our league games will be, but we'll see. We'll try to cover it Tuesday or Wednesday this week for that. And then next week we'll be back. What we're going to cover next week is we have some extended meta discussion that we want to have next week. We're going to have more coverage of Empire list building and how to beat or play Empire in the meta. And then we're going to cover a lot of the Star Championships that we missed this week because there's just, I don't know, too many to cover, it seems, in a week. So with that being said, thank you. Have a good night, and we will see you on the flippity flop.